Hey all, and welcome to another penny hunt by the Irish Collector. These coins are between 1859 and 1958. Let's hope for some younger coins this time. Let me just clean this up and see what we have. Looks like we have one steely and some very shiny proofs. So our first coin is 1919. And these follow up by 1920. This guy's very shiny. Don't want to touch as little as we can. So 1958D. Move him over to the side. The next we have a 1937, followed up by a 1958D. Our steely is at 1943. Next is 1952D, followed up by a 1956D, followed up by a 1911, he's followed up by a 1930, and 1937, another shiny, 1953, over to the side. Next up is a 1956D, followed by 1928. Next is a 1929. He's followed up by a 1938D. After that we have a 1951D. Next is a 1925. This one seems a lot younger of a roll than 1942. 1946. Then 1920. 1925. 1936. Another very shiny 1957 D. To the side as well. Next up is 1941. Next is a 1956D. Then we have a 1939D. Next is 1958D. After that it's a 1925. Oh, touched too much. Then 1939. We have a 1925. 1920 again. 3 1920s, I think. Then we have 1957D. Next is a 1945. Two stuck together. So 1930. And his friend was a 1944D. Next is a 1926, 1942, 1937, and 1936D, 1927. 20s and 30s in this road. Then 1926, followed up by 1938, followed up by a 1917, up next in 1926, and 1945. Then we have 1944. Then we have a 1951D. Oh, first Indian head, which is 1906. Looks burnt or something. Then finally, we have a 1944D. Let me just have a look in the book and see if I have any fillers. And with two fillers and a replacer. So 1911, 1939D, then that 1957D. Focus. It was very nice.